Is something that's key because, sometimes we read about the lives of the saints, how there was great joy with them, even though their level of suffering was extreme. And I think to man after original sin, that seems a little irrational, that people would be happy even though they're suffering. At the fall, one of the reasons that we ended up with this horror of suffering, this fear of suffering, is because suffering itself causes kind of a pain and a dissonance, and we don't want to do that. But why don't we want to do that? Well, part of it has to do with the fact that some speculation is that when Eve looked at the fruit and was told that God is keeping something from you by not, the reason he doesn't want you eating this fruit is because then you'll actually know good from evil, you'll be like the gods. And so she looked at it, and some speculate that she didn't want to lose out or be separated from a possible good that she could have. And that fear of suffering that loss of something good is and Adam did the same thing, which is why we ended up with this horror of suffering. Some of it, I think, is just due to our general moral weakness after the fall. But this horror of suffering is a defect, and it can be perfected in the sense that we can overcome it. So back to virtue. Virtue is a good habit. It's a habit, which means that you have to develop it. You have to keep doing it over and over and over again in order to become very proficient in it. In the beginning stages, when we don't have a virtue, to perform the act of virtue is contrary to our disposition, and so it's painful and difficult. So to suffer well in the beginning is very difficult. You can do it through an act of the will, just saying, okay, I'm going to choose to do this. But in order to get to the point where you have the virtue of mortification, where you suffer well, you have to be doing it over and over and over again. In heaven,